Hey everyone. So it's only been a day since legalization was implemented, and already I'm seeing the established media pointing out the very real fact. I mean, I warned a lot of you Canadians out there. I mean, well, if you're paying attention to my video, you probably should have warned the people you know as well, and I'm sure some of you probably did. But yeah, the whole pretense of legalization in Canada, it had nothing to do with giving Canadians any freedoms to smoke, grow, cultivate, or distribute a plant that has never killed anyone ever in all of human history that I know of, and is actually much, much, much safer than some of the alternative vices or those prescription opioids, right? Think about it. If you got a white lab coat on, hey, you can write prescriptions all day long for some of the most powerful drugs on the planet and hand that out to your patients. But as long as they do that, all function under government approved mandates and institutions, that's all fine. Hey, you want heroin? Which a lot of these drugs like oxycodone and Dilaudid, they're basically almost identical to heroin. But hey, like I say, that's okay because it's all done under government approved mandates, right? But smoking a doobie, like I say, that's much, much lower on the scale as far as, I mean, you know, if you know anyone that smoked a joint or marijuana or weed or pot, whatever you want to call it, cannabis, you know damn well there's nothing other than what? You get the munchies and you want to sit around and chillax or maybe get a little groove on. I mean, that's basically the biggest fears you'll ever have concerning people that consume marijuana. But the federal liberals, well, they just couldn't hold off because they did their polling just like the conservatives. And hey, if we tell the Canadians we're going to legalize marijuana, oh, they'll love us for it because they'll think we're going to be so benevolent and so kind and compassionate to them. Meanwhile, their handlers, they're all like, hey, look, we can get all this tax money and revenue, and we'll get a bunch of support from those millennials that are too foolish or naive to realize that actually we're actually attempting to take over an industry that's been flourishing and thriving basically since Canada was a country. The reason why weed is so popular is because it's been propagated throughout this whole country, flying out of the radar, you know, in the free market or black market, as they call it, or gray market. But yeah, Canadians love their cannabis. That's a fact. That's a very well-known fact. And the political opportunists, yeah, like I say, they were salivating and chomping at the bit, just waiting to get their opportunity to dig their grubby little hands into your pocket and take all of that free market voluntary interaction and place it in the hands of government so that now you have to ask permission or get it from government or state approved dispensaries or institutions. Like I say, stay away from that stuff. Support the people that have been here providing cannabis to the consumers in Canada all along. Anyways, back to the story at hand. Yeah, sorry I went on a little tangent. I tend to do that because this stuff, like I say, it just drives me nuts because people actually, well, some people, although most people I actually talk to, they realize that what I'm saying is correct. I've had very little pushback when I tell the kind of stuff, the information I tell people. Most of the times they actually acknowledge and agree with me. Anyways, first headline. This one is in Winnipeg, CBC News, Manitoba. Winnipeg's first ticket for toking in a car issued 1 hour into legalization. An hour into legality and something illegal, WPS. In 1 hour after pot was legalized, Winnipeg police issued their first ticket for consuming cannabis in a car. Around 1 a.m., Winnipeg Police Service Traffic Division Inspector Gord Spado says one of his officers issued the ticket during a traffic stop. An hour into legality and something illegal, Spado said Wednesday. It's not clear whether the person ticketed was driving at the time or not, so probably not. Otherwise, they would have pointed that out. That would have been a pretty easy observation if it's the person that was driving or not. But either way, even if it was the passenger, under legalization, 1 hour into, and they just couldn't wait to fill up the government coffers or start to fill it up with revenue, not just from the weed you bought through that government-approved crony corporation and the tax that the government gets as a result. But now they're going to get you on the back end with tickets as well for doing something that's now legal. Anyways, let's move on. This is another headline article out of the National Post. Already, police are handing out hefty fines for alleged violations of laws around cannabis use. Halifax District RCMP said they issued a $295 fine after officers spotted an open bag of government-supplied cannabis within the driver's reach after he was pulled over. So not smoking or consuming, apparently even went and was foolish and naive enough to go pay some government-approved institution for his weed when, hey, little secret, you can get it much cheaper, better product, better quality, and no tax involved. Hey, I don't want to tell you what to do, folks, but don't be so naive to buy your weed from these crony corporations that are government approved. Like I say, why would you want to do that? Anyways, but this person trying to do it all the up and on the legit, and they're rewarded with a big old fine for doing so. And not because he was consuming in his vehicle, just by sheer fact that it was within reach, right? So, like I say, in Halifax and Nova Scotia, that's the place, that's that province in Canada. Yeah, you're not allowed to smoke, or now, because marijuana is smoked too. So cigarettes or marijuana, basically nowhere. So you can buy that marijuana, just don't smoke it anywhere. Except maybe in your own private residence, if you're lucky. Once again, folks, legalization, okay, that's an Orwellian term for complete control under the auspices or the pretense of, oh, I'm going to allow my people, my citizens, you know, like Trudeau, I'm going to allow my citizens to consume cannabis because I'm so kind to the little people. Anyways, let's move on to the next article at hand. I don't want to tie up too much time here because I'm sure there'll be a lot more ammunition thrown my way to use against this pretense of legalization in Canada. I guarantee I'll be able to point out many more times in the future how, no, it's not freedom for you folks. It's control. It was always about control. Anyway, next headline, this one out of CBC News again, this time out of Ottawa. Ooh, that bastion of anti-freedom, right? Where all this legislation takes place that has now actually ramped up all the pretenses and reasons how they can criminalize you and punish you for doing something that's now supposedly legal. Headline, bylaw SWAT team to target pot smoking in city parks. City keen to nip illegal smoking in the bud. Oh, notice that pun there. Yeah, real funny, CBC. But I mean, come on. A SWAT team? Really? A SWAT team for cannabis? Once again, didn't you fuckers just legalize it? What the hell you need SWAT teams? Oh, there might be people out there in the park smoking around kids. No, you know people aren't trying to do it around kids. But yeah, they might when school's not in, or later when everyone's gone home, or maybe late in the evening or overnight. Maybe want to light up in some public park, but oh, can't do that. No. We're going to crack down on you. And not just with little petty officers that'll run around with a ticket. No, a whole SWAT team. How dare you light up in a public space such as a park? Wow, folks. Once again, a SWAT team. You never had to worry about SWAT teams before legalization, but you do now. Next. And yet again, out of Ottawa. This one, though, from Ottawa Citizen. Headline, Ottawa police to meet legal pot with mega ride program on roads. So not just a regular ride program, which is already a complete infringement and denial of your inherent and alienable rights to just travel freely, unobstructed, unless you're actually committing a crime that they genuinely suspect you of, which they can't, right? Unless they see what? A weed smoker weaving all over the road? No, that's not going to happen. Actually, any pretense of living in a free country means that you should be able to travel freely without having to be arbitrarily stopped and have the potential imposition of these interrogations or being run through the process just in case there's a slight possibility that you might be doing something wrong. Once again, no, they're supposed to have reasonable grounds and probable cause, but well, that would mean they would actually be following genuine law. But we know now it's just about political edicts, and it has been for a long time, folks. Genuine law, that was tossed out the window a long time ago, and now it's just arbitrary political edicts by a bunch of central planning authoritarians and control freaks. And this is just further proof. And they're even willing to step up their efforts, step up their game, and now create mega ride programs. So you better be real careful out there, folks, because once again, legalization comes with a lot of negative caveats, as in more chances of you being criminalized, punished, or penalized for something that actually you had a lot less concern prior legalization. And they were still hard at screwing over people that like to have a drink or two, right? That was the big push for decades. But now, the focus and the attention going on you, pot smokers. I guess they've screwed over enough people that like to drink, have a drink or two. They've screwed enough those people over that I guess the pool's running kind of dry there. There's not many left. They have to reach down to the bottom of the barrel because they've, like I say, screwed so many people over. I guess there's not many left that they can screw over. And they're also broke. I guess they can't fill up the government coffers because they're all going through a life of destitution and brokenness as a result of, once again, being punished for victimless crimes. Because once again, folks, that's another thing. Unless you've actually caused an injury or harm or death or damage to someone somehow, some way, none of these things are actually genuine, legitimate laws. For anything to be considered a criminal offense under proper common law suggests there actually has to be a victim involved. So as we've seen throughout recent decades, and I'm just one of them, many of us have been punished and persecuted as a criminal, even though we haven't truly created a victim or actually committed a crime. But once again, folks, when politicians, rather than genuine justice and law, gets to dictate and determine what's right and wrong in society, well, it's always up in the air, open to interpretation, and completely in the hands of the most vile, despicable, authoritarian people you'll ever meet. Namely, these politicians who constantly want to dictate, control, and micromanage every aspect of your social and economic lives. So like I say, that's enough for today. Just one day into it, folks. Like I say, look at what they're already doing. Freedom? I think not. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.